Dana White's Contender Series 2021 Week 3. 5 fights on the entire fight card, the main events in the light heavyweight division, a Russian and a Brazilian, 9 wins, 0 losses for the Russian, who has very solid wrestling and very solid counter-punching ability, so he's probably going to want to go out there and wrestle for the win because the striking, Jonathan Almeida is very tall, very lengthy, and has very good kickboxing, but he's also an amazing grappler, so that main event, it can definitely go either way. It's a very close one in the light heavyweight division. We have Mo Miller and Brandon Lewis in the bantamweight division. Mo Miller, I think, can be a possible top 15, a top 10 bantamweight fighter in the UFC in the next couple of years. Very solid kickboxing, very tall, very lengthy, and he has very good wrestling. Against Brandon Lewis, who has some pretty good counter-punching abilities. Has not been too active in the last couple of years in his MMA career, but he's got decent wrestling as well, so should be a good fight in the bantamweight division. Albert Duraev and Kyle Bittencourt. Albert Duraev, very solid striking, comes forward, looks for the takedown, and Kyle Bittencourt, very solid kickboxing, so that one should definitely be a good fight in the middleweight division. We got Ange Lusa. If you guys remember Gilbert Burns doing a slapboxing video, Ange Lusa was the guy slapboxing with Gilbert Burns. He has some pretty good striking, but his cardio isn't really the best. Jack Della Mandolina, very solid kickboxing with some decent wrestling and grappling as well. But that's a very close fight in the welterweight division. And speaking of close fights, we got Jasmine Jasdevicius and then Julia Pelastri, if I'm saying that last name correctly. But the odds for that one are literally neck and neck at -110 as of right now, but -110 and -110. These are all the odds. Jack Della Mandolina is the favorite. Albert Duraev, a heavy favorite at -400. Mo Miller, a 3-1 favorite, and Nazarudinov at -155 as of right now. But overall, Dana White's Contender Series Week 3 is going to be a very good fight card. If you made it all this way out of my whole entire intro right there for all of these 5 fights, if you're here, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, put your predictions for every one of these 5 fights in the comment section below, and turn on those post notifications for my channel so you guys do get notified for when I post a video. That would be absolutely amazing because out of all of you guys that are subscribed, only 300, which is 10% of you guys, are actually getting the notifications. So subscribe, like the video, and put on those notifications. With all of that being said, let's go into the first fight in the flyweight division. Jasmine Jasdevicius and Julia Pelastri in the flyweight division. Julia Pelastri going to be a lot smaller than Jasmine Jasdevicius. Now, the reach, we're not really too sure. The reach does not show up right here. I've looked through a couple of the last fights from Jasmine Jasdevicius, could not find the reach, so I'm not too sure about that. But in terms of height, Jasmine Jasdevicius is going to be having a 5-inch height advantage, which is very significant in this flyweight division, as well as Julia Pelastri moving from the strawweight to the flyweight division, which I think gives Jasmine a little bit of a size advantage as well as that 5-inch height advantage. But overall, this fight is probably going to stand the feet. Julia Pelastri does have very good wrestling and grappling skills, 1 win by submission and then 3 knockout wins, but her wrestling and grappling looked pretty good in the last fight with Jessica Kuna, a black belt in BJJ, who she submitted, I believe, in the 2nd or 3rd round right there. So her grappling is very legit. But in the fight, I do think it's going to be a striking fight. I don't see Jasmine getting a takedown on Julie. I don't see Julie getting a takedown on Jasmine. I see this fight staying on the feet. Jasmine looking to keep the fight at range. Front kicks to the body, jab, 1-2. And in the clinch, man, oh yeah, in the clinch, Jasmine Jasdevicius with amazing knees right to the body in the clinch, and facing a girl that does have very solid wrestling and grappling like Julia Pelastri, and is a lot smaller. It's going to be a lot easier for Jasmine to land the knees to the head as well as the knees to the body that she usually does. But right here, body shot knockout win, really good right hook to the body, and then the knee knockout win right there on Gabriela Golfin. But the knees in the clinch are going to kind of limit whatever Julia Pelastri is able to do with the wrestling and grappling, because she's going to eat a lot of knees like that. And in the striking at range, Julia Pelastri is going to have to come into range to land her combinations, which is mainly just the left hook and the right hook. Jasmine, being the taller, I'm assuming lengthier fighter as well, can kind of limit that by doing that front kick to the body, as I said before. A lot of people do that kind of push kick to the body or front kick to the body to get their opponent to move backwards and not let them put on the pressure. that is one of the weapons she can use, as she's coming in, just 1-2, 1-2, and just circle onto the outside. So this is an easy prediction in my opinion on who I'm favoring to win, which will be Jasmine and Jazz the Vicious. I'm not too sure why the odds have it as 50-50, and I'm not too sure why the Tapology predictions are favoring Julie Pelastri. She's got pretty good pressure on the feet, pressure striking, and has some decent wrestling and grappling, but Jazz the Vicious has very good counter punching, that 1-2. She's a lot taller, has that front kick to the body in the clinch. She's gonna have those knees. So I just don't see much of a path to victory from Julie, other than maybe landing the takedown, which I just don't see her landing. Jasmine has very, very solid takedown defense, so I don't see any wrestling or grappling happening in this fight. I see it staying on the feet, and based on all the things I've just said, I'm gonna go Jasmine, Jazz the Vicious, to win the fight right here in the flyweight division. But it's a very, very good, very, very close fight. I mean, there's definitely ways she can win. Definitely ways Julie can definitely win the fight right here. But Jasmine, in my opinion, in the boxing, in the kickboxing, in the clinch, in the wrestling is very, very even. The grappling is very, very even. But everything to do with the striking and in the clinch, Jasmine is a lot better. So I would probably move this line to Jasmine at -150, -160. I don't think it's at 50-50. Definitely going Jasmine, Jazz the Vicious to win the fight right there in the flyweight division. But yeah, it's a very, very good fight. But my prediction, Jasmine and Jazz the Vicious in the flyweight division. Jack Della Maddalena and Angelusa in the welterweight division. Jack Della Maddalena, 9 wins and 2 losses. Every single win being a finish, I believe, in the first or second round. I believe there might be one in the third. No, there's no fights going even to the third round. Even his losses are finishes as well. But out of his wins, 8 knockout wins and 1 rear naked choke submission. But his striking is definitely what's going to get him the win right here. Jack Della Maddalena and Angelusa don't really have the best wrestling and grappling. They both are pretty strong, and they can kind of get like an explosive double leg takedown every now and then. But Angelusa doesn't really have the best cardio, so wrestling is not going to be the best game plan for a guy like Angelusa, because it's going to take a lot of wind out of him to go for those takedowns, and it's not going to work out for him. Jack Della Maddalena, his wrestling and grappling is decent, but again, he's probably going to want the fight to stay on the feet. He's going to have a 2-inch height advantage. He's going to be a much better counter puncher. Has a really good right hook, because he is a left-handed fighter. Likes to do that right hook, straight left, and circle to the outside. Has very solid leg kicks, very solid high kicks, front kicks to the body. All of those type of things. The kicking game for Jack Della Maddalena is much better from Angelusa. Andre has decent leg kicks. Usually likes to come forward with a left hook, right hook, just really big shots and try to get the knockout early in that first round. A fight that I want you guys to look at would probably be the Rustam Casano fight, where he just kind of went forward and just started throwing. But that's what he kind of does in most of his fights. Even the Baiwani Dori fight, he just came forward, got his opponent's back to the cage, and just started throwing. Eventually got the knockout. That is the main way I see Angelusa winning. Pressure Jack Della Maddalena's back to the cage and just start throwing and get the knockout. But that is going to get him tired. Angelusa's cardio has been a factor into why he's lost a couple of his fights. In the second and third round, Jack Della Maddalena is really going to take over. So if Angelusa is going to win, it's going to be in that first round, by knockout or TKO or something like that. But if the fight goes to the second and third round, Jack Della Maddalena, there's a lot more volume. They have similar speed, similar power. And with that cardio deficit in that second and third round, along with those kicks of Jack Della Maddalena, the leg kicks, the high kicks, the front kicks, the jab, the 1-2, the right hook, and straight left, I can't see Angelusa winning if it is not a first round finish. So for those reasons, I don't think Angelusa is going to get the first round knockout. I do think he's going to tire out in that second and third round, and Jack Della Maddalena is going to come back with the volume in terms of those kicks and with that right hook and straight left right down the pipe, and just keep on moving on the outside, kicking and moving. And I do think he's going to win the second and third round and win the fight by a 29-28 decision. He could win the first round, but I do think Angelusa, when he is not tired, puts on a lot of pressure, and he lands with some really powerful shots. So I think the first round goes Angelusa, but the second and third, once he gets tired and once that volume of Jack Della Maddalena starts to kick in, he's going to win the second, he's going to win the third, and he's going to win the fight by a decision. Again, All of his wins are finishes, 8 knockouts and 1 submission win. A lot of people would probably think, like a lot of people right here, that he would get the knockout. 71% going Magdalena by knockout, but I think this fight's going to go all the way. Andy Lusa did get stunned in the fight with Jonathan Thompson, got a little wobbled in that fight, but he did not get finished. He found a way to stay in the fight and not get knocked out. And Jack Della Maddalena, I think he's got power to knock him out, but I have a feeling this fight's going to go all the way. So I'm going to go Jack Della Maddalena winning the fight by 29-28 unanimous decision. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Albert Duraev and Kyle Bittencourt in the middleweight division. Albert Duraev is the 84th best middleweight fighter in the world. 13 wins and 3 losses. Very, very solid wrestling and grappling. Out of all of his wins, pretty much all of them are either by submission or by a ground upon TKO. That's pretty much the only way he wins his fights, is ground upon TKO or by submission. But on the feet, he comes forward with some really big shots, overhand lefts, left hooks, right hooks, uppercuts, just really big shots to get his opponents kind of worrying about the defense, not really taking into account that he's about to go for a takedown. So he throws some big shots to get their hands up, to get their hands in front of their eyes, and not really focus on the wrestling and grappling aspect of Albert Duraev. Then he goes down for that double leg takedown or single leg takedown, usually more of a double leg takedown type of guy. If he does not get that double leg takedown, gets you to the clinch, body locks you, picks you up, moves you around, and drops you right around that center line of the middle. If you know, there's like that center circle right there, right on the line on the outside of that circle. He gets you from the clinch and just pulls you like, say this is the cage right here. He'll get the body lock right here, pull you like this, and then drop you right there. He does that very, very well. Just picks you up, moves you, and drops you. So you're not really able to use the fence to get back up. And right when you're right there, you have nothing to really do. You kind of squirming, and it's super hard to get your back right back to the cage and get right back up. It's very, very hard to do that, especially on a guy like Albert Duraev, as the whole entire time, he's going to be ground up hunting the heck out of you. And if you give your back to Albert Duraev, he's got a really, really solid rear naked choke submission. A lot of those submissions are north-south chokes or rear naked chokes, so you can't really give your back to get up like that and do the thing where they get the body lock and your arms right here and you're just fighting the hands. You can't really do that because he's going to lock in that rear naked. So the only thing you can really do is stand your back and wait for the round to end, which is not a good strategy. Albert Duraev's wrestling is very, very solid. Clinches you up, does that body lock, moves you out against the cage, and then pulls you and drops you right there. Just ground upon, and then looks for the submission or looks to keep on ground pounding for the TKO. But that is the main way I see him winning, just taking him down over and over and over again, keeping him there, and just ground pounding and looking for the choke. That is the main way. But on the feet, Albert Duraev is honestly not too bad either. Has very, very solid power in his hands. Has decent cardio. I mean, he shows a little bit of the hands drop and a little bit low every now and then. But I don't think that's gonna play too much of a factor, as I do think he's gonna get the fight down with the takedowns and with the wrestling and grappling. But if the fight were to stay on the feet, I'd probably give a slight advantage to Kyle Bittencourt. He's a very, very solid kickboxer at range. He's a very solid body kick and head kick, jab, 1-2, all that type of stuff. He's going to be on the back foot, moving on the outside, looking to kickbox with Albert Duraev. But again, eventually, Albert Duraev will land the takedown, will get on top, ground upon, and look for the submission or get that ground upon TKO. So Kyle needs the fight to stay at range and needs to kickbox and needs to win the fight by either a head kick KO or just defend all the takedowns and win the fight at range. I just don't see that happening. I think Albert Duraev will get the fight down and will either win the fight by a ground upon TKO or a submission in the second round. The first round, I think, is going to be very close to a finish on Kyle Bittencourt, but in that second round, I do think that is when Albert Duraev will finish the fight, either with a rear naked choke submission, an arm triangle choke submission, or with a ground upon TKO. But that is a really, really good fight in the middleweight division right there. Mo Miller and Brandon Lewis in the bantamweight division. Mo Miller, let's give some props to this man. I'm going to say it right now before I even make my prediction. It's going to be fairly obvious after I say this, but Mo Miller, in my opinion, I do think will be a ranked fighter in the bantamweight division. I'm going to go by the end of 2022. So I believe in the next 4 fights, Mo Miller will be a number 15, number 14 fighter in the bantamweight division. His wrestling is absolutely amazing. Amazing double leg takedowns. He's really strong, very explosive, has very good body locks against the cage as well. Pulls you and then drops you in the center of the cage and just ground and pounds you and looks for the choke. His striking is good as well. He's very tall, very lengthy for a bantamweight, 5'8" tall compared to Brandon Lewis, who is 5'4" tall. The reach, it doesn't show there, but he's very, very long, very lengthy. But at range, the 1-2, that little side kick to the body that he does, and the head kick is very, very fast, very, very powerful. So he's going to kickbox at range. He's going to land that side kick to the body, the head kick, the jab, the 1-2. But that's what he does very, very good on the feet, but that's not the best thing he does in MMA. It's the wrestling and grappling, which I think is going to be what gets him the win on Brandon Lewis, is going to be that wrestling and grappling. I mean, the last fight, dude, against Reginaldo Carvalho, if I'm saying that name correctly, picked him up, got the body lock, I believe he was behind him, picked him up and slammed him on his head and knocked him out, man. That was absolutely amazing. And then he submitted Mando Gutierrez, who all of his wins, I believe, are rear naked choke submissions, and he himself rear nakeded the rear naked guy in Mando Gutierrez right there. So the grappling and wrestling advantage goes Mo Miller. The striking advantage also with a high, with a reach, with that 1-2, the side kick to the body, the head kick goes Mo Miller. Pretty much every advantage in this fight goes Mo Miller. He's gonna be a ranked opponent by the end of 2022, maybe early 2023, something like that. Mark my words right now. Come back to this video in 2022, 2023. Mo Miller will be ranked in the bantamweight division. Brandon Lewis, I don't know where he's going to be at that time because mainly he's just going out there kind of being more of a counterpuncher. Has decent wrestling, decent grappling, but right here, his counterpunching abilities I don't think are going to pay off too well. Mo Miller is just too good at range with the jab, the 1-2, the head kick, and his wrestling is just a lot better than Brandon Lewis. I don't see many ways for Brandon Lewis winning right here. So, my prediction is going to be Mo Miller winning the fight. I'm going to go rear naked choke submission in the first or second round right there. But personally, out of all of these fights right here, Jonathan Almeida, Mo Miller, literally every single fight right here, Mo Miller is my most confident pick of the entire fight card. He's just an absolute beast. Future ranked opponent, maybe a future title challenger, something like that. But what I've seen from him, he looks like an absolute beast. So I'm going Mo Miller to win the fight by a rear naked choke submission in the first or second round. Really good fight in the bantamweight division. Jailton Almeida and Nasruddinov in the light heavyweight division. Nasruddinov, very, very solid wrestling, very solid counterpunching abilities on the feet. Already ranked at number 57 in the light heavyweight division, beating guys like Corey Hendricks, who fought inside of the PFL a couple of weeks ago, and many, many other very, very solid guys. Recently getting a third round knockout win on Evgeny Egemberdiev, if I'm saying that name correctly right there. But 4 knockouts, 4 decisions, and one submission win right there. If he's going to win, it's going to be in the wrestling department. On the feet, Jailton Almeida is a lot taller at 6'4" tall right there. A 4-inch height advantage. Not too sure the reach of either guy, but Jailton Almeida is very tall, very lengthy, and he's very strong. I mean, he's a very, very strong fighter for this light heavyweight division. But on the feet, Nasruddinov is going to be looking to counter, land the jab, right hook, left hook, uppercuts, all that type of stuff. But he's going to be a counter-punching type of guy on the feet. Jailton Almeida looking to just 1-2 at range, front kick to the body kick, head kick, leg kick. Just kickbox at range. That's the main thing Jailton Almeida will need to do at range in the striking game with a height and reach advantage. I'm assuming he has the reach advantage, but I'm not too sure. But on the feet, I do give the advantage to Jailton Almeida with the height, with the reach. The speed is very even. The power is very even, and then the kicks are definitely in favor for Jailton Almeida. So the striking, I'm going to give the advantage to Jailton Almeida. In the wrestling, I'll give the advantage to Nasruddinov. Has really good body lock takedowns and a very solid double leg takedown. But his opponent, Jailton Almeida, is going to have the grappling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu advantage, as you see right here. three submission wins and then one decision win in grappling bouts, and then out of all of his wins, 8 submission wins and 5 knockout wins. A lot of ground and pound TKOs as well. So his grappling is also very, very solid. Now, he hasn't really faced the competition that Nasruddinov has faced in his career. I mean, 26-14, 5-2, 19-5-1, 3-0. They're decent. It's decent competition right there, but Nasruddinov has definitely faced the better competition. 11-2, Evgeny Agamberdiev, Corey Hendricks in the PFL, Jorge Gonzalez, an undefeated fighter, Rasul Saitohayev. Lots of very, very solid fighters right here. Everyone from right here and up are pretty legit competition right there. I can't really say the same for Jonathan Almeida right there, but it's not. We don't need to talk about past opponents, anything like that. We need to talk about skill for skill. Who is the better fighter? And I'm gonna go Jonathan Almeida. I'm gonna very, very slightly go Jonathan Almeida. Originally, when I first saw the fight announced, because I had originally watched some film on Nasruddinov. I've watched a couple of his last couple of fights, but that was a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, I had Nasruddinov winning the fight by a ground and pound TKO or a decision. But now that I've watched a lot of film on Jonathan Almeida, I think he has the advantage on the feet at range with the kickboxing and has amazing Brazilian jiu-jitsu to at least do decently on the ground, and he can honestly use the triangle chokes on bottom to get right back up on the feet. So the grappling and wrestling is very, very even, but I do give the striking to Jonathan Almeida. Very, very close fight in this light heavyweight division. I know a lot of you guys out there are gonna be like, you're stupid, man. Nasruddinov is gonna go out there and dominate, get the TKO, get the submission, whatever the case may be. I originally thought that too, but go watch some of the film on Jonathan Almeida. It was pretty hard to find some of that film, but the size of Jonathan Almeida, the strength of Jonathan Almeida, the height, the reach, the power. I mean, the kickboxing is going to be a lot to handle for Nasruddin. And he's got very good takedown defense, very good grappling, which kind of limits what Nasruddin is able to do with the wrestling and ground and pound, because he's going to be worrying about the submission threats from bottom from Jonathan Almeida. So it's a very even fight. Can definitely go either way. Not one that I'm like 100% Nasruddin winning. I'm 100% Jonathan. It's 50-50. I'm very slightly leaning Jonathan Almeida, but it's a very, very close fight. I'm going to go Jonathan Almeida. I'm going to go by decision right here. It's going to be tough to finish a guy like Nasruddinov, but I'm going to go Jonathan Almeida by a decision right there, 29-28, but a very close fight in the light heavyweight division right there. But yeah, guys, that is my full card prediction for Dana White's Contender Series 2021 Week 3. 5 fights on the entire fight card. I have the underdog in Jonathan Almeida winning that fight in the main event in the light heavyweight division. I have Mo Miller definitely winning that fight in the bantamweight division. Albert the Ryan winning that fight in the middleweight division. Jack Della Maddalena winning that fight in the welterweight division. And Jasmine, Jazz the Vicious, winning that fight in the flyweight division. Lots of really solid fights for Dana White's Contender Series Week 3. But if you guys liked the video, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications. If you guys have made it to the end of the video, I'm trying to get this video, let's go 50 total likes. 50 total likes. That is a lot of likes right there. But if we can do that, I will chug a gallon of milk on stream. I don't know what that's going to do to right here, but I'll chug a gallon of milk on stream, because why not?